Stop that right now! Alexander Harrington's voice boomed through the lavish mansion like a thunderclap. He stood frozen at the doorway of the sunlit playroom, his face twisted in fury as he watched the unthinkable scene unfold. His 7-year-old daughter, Lily, sat in her wheelchair, her face lit up with a rare smile that hadn't graced her features since the tragic accident 6 months ago. Beside her, Marcus Hale, the new black driver he'd hired just a month earlier, swayed gently to soft jazz music from his phone, holding Lily's tiny hand as she clapped along, her upper body moving in rhythm. The room, filled with expensive toys and medical equipment, seemed alive for the first time in ages. "What in God's name are you doing with my daughter?" Alexander stormed forward, his expensive suit rumpling as he grabbed Marcus by the collar. The music stopped abruptly as Marcus released Lily's hand, his dark eyes calm despite the assault. The girl's smile faded instantly, replaced by wide-eyed fear. Marcus raised his hand slowly. "Mr. Harrington, I can explain. It's part of—" "Explain? You're supposed to drive, not play pretend with a disabled child." Alexander spat, shoving him back. Lily's lower body remained still, paralyzed from the waist down since the car crash that had taken her mother. Alexander had spent millions on specialists, turning the mansion into a fortress of therapy rooms and high-tech gadgets. But nothing had brought back her joy. Until this moment, it seemed. "Daddy, please," Lily whispered, tears welling up in her blue eyes, inherited from her late mother. "Marcus was teaching me to dance, like Mama used to do before the accident." "You can't dance, Lily. The sooner you accept reality, the better." The words escaped harshly, cutting through the air like a knife, and Alexander regretted them immediately. But his pride, forged in boardrooms and billion-dollar deals, wouldn't let him back down. Marcus's expression shifted slightly, not to anger or fear, but to a deep, knowing understanding, as if he recognized the grief fueling Alexander's rage all too well. "Sir, perhaps we should talk privately. There's more to this than—" "Nothing to talk about. Pack your things. You're fired." As Marcus nodded without protest and turned to leave, he knelt by Lily one last time, his voice soft and reassuring. "Remember the stars, little one? Some shine differently, but they light up the sky just the same." Alexander watched him go, a strange unease creeping in. Marcus didn't beg for his job or show desperation like a typical employee would. There was a quiet dignity about him, a serenity that didn't fit the profile of a simple driver scraping by on minimum wage. As Lily's sobs filled the room, echoing off the marble floors and crystal chandeliers, Alexander knelt beside her, his assurances ringing hollow even to his own ears. He'd hired the world's best therapists and doctors, yet this stranger had made her smile in ways they couldn't. What if he'd just made the biggest mistake of his life, driven by blind prejudice? If this tale of hidden truths and shattered prejudices is stirring your emotions, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because what Alexander is about to uncover about Marcus will shatter his world and rebuild it in ways he never imagined. 3 days had passed since the dramatic firing, and the Harrington mansion, perched on a hill overlooking the city skyline, felt colder and more isolated than ever. Alexander buried himself in his work, sealing multi-million-dollar mergers from his home office, convincing himself that dismissing Marcus was the right call. No one crossed boundaries with his vulnerable daughter without consequences. After all, as a self-made billionaire in tech, he controlled everything: his empire, his schedule, even his grief. But Lily wasn't cooperating with his plan to return to normal. The once vibrant girl refused her therapy sessions, barely touched her gourmet meals prepared by the private chef, and spent hours staring blankly at the playroom window, whispering about dancing stars to herself. The specialists, top neurologists flown in from Europe, reported emotional regression, a setback that no amount of money seemed able to fix. "Why did you send him away, Daddy?" Lily asked for the umpteenth time that morning, her voice breaking as tears stained her silk pillowcase in the opulent bedroom filled with untouched toys. "He made me feel like I could fly again." Alexander adjusted his tie in front of the antique mirror, preparing for a crucial board meeting downtown. "He overstepped, sweetheart. We'll find someone better, someone qualified." But deep down, doubt gnawed at him like a persistent virus. Meanwhile, across town in a modest apartment building tucked away in a working-class neighborhood, Marcus Hale sat at his cluttered kitchen table reviewing medical journals on pediatric neurotherapy. His laptop screen glowed with emails in English, Portuguese, and French from international clinics and universities. A call came in from a colleague in Paris. "Dr. Hale, the conference on movement therapy for trauma survivors. Will you attend?" "Postpone it," Marcus replied smoothly in flawless French, his eyes fixed on a photo of Lily mid-dance, captured discreetly during one of their sessions. "I have unfinished business here." Alexander had never bothered to run a full background check on Marcus, assuming the high-end employment agency had vetted him thoroughly. If he had, he'd have discovered that Marcus held a PhD in neurology from Oxford University, specialized in innovative music and movement therapy for children with neurological trauma, and had left a prestigious career at a leading European hospital after a personal tragedy that mirrored Lily's own loss. But there was even more, a connection Alexander couldn't fathom yet. Marcus had known Alexander's late wife, Emily, from a confidential support group for expectant parents facing genetic risks years ago. She'd confided in him about her fears for Lily's potential health issues, begging him to promise his help if the worst happened. Emily had kept it secret from Alexander, knowing his skepticism toward unconventional methods. As Alexander returned home early from his meeting, finding Lily curled up in her wheelchair, refusing dinner again, the guilt intensified. Wandering into the garage, once Marcus's domain, he spotted a forgotten notebook tucked behind some tools. Opening it with trembling hands, he found pages of detailed notes on Lily's condition. Customized therapy plans blending music with subtle exercises, progress charts showing micro movements in her legs, even childlike drawings of dancing stars to motivate her. Flipping to the back, a faded photo fell out. Marcus, in a white coat, standing beside Emily in a hospital room, both smiling warmly. Dated 5 years ago, during Emily's pregnancy, a handwritten note on the back in French, "Dr. Marcus Hale, consultant for Emily Harrington's prenatal care. Promise kept." Alexander's knees buckled as the pieces connected. Marcus wasn't just a driver, he'd treated his wife, and he'd appeared in their lives to fulfill a dying promise. Every harsh word, every judgmental glance replayed in his mind, now heavy with regret and shame. The man he'd fired in a fit of rage was perhaps the only one who could truly heal his daughter. But as the weight of his prejudice settled in, a new fear emerged. Had he destroyed that chance forever? The next morning, Alexander canceled all his appointments, his usual ironclad schedule crumbling under the weight of revelation. pacing his opulent study lined with leather-bound books and priceless art, he hired a private investigation firm immediately. "I want everything on Marcus Hale, every job, every degree, every breath he's taken in the last decade," he barked into the phone, his voice edged with desperation. "And make it fast." Meanwhile, Lily's condition worsened. She refused to leave her room, pushing away the trays of organic meals and turning her face to the wall during visits from the parade of therapists. Dr. Elena Peterson, the family's pediatrician and a witness to Lily's decline, pulled Alexander aside after another failed session. "She's not just sad, Mr. Harrington. This is emotional shutdown. Children like Lily form attachments that become lifelines. Severing one abruptly, it's like ripping away her hope." "Are you saying she's sick because I fired a driver?" Alexander snapped, his disbelief laced with irritation, though doubt flickered in his eyes. "I'm saying you underestimated his role. That driver achieved more in weeks than we've seen in months." The investigator's report arrived that afternoon via encrypted email. Alexander locked himself in his study, heart pounding as he scrolled through the digital pages. Marcus Hale graduated top of his class from the University of Cape Town with a medical degree, specialized in pediatric neurology at Oxford, published groundbreaking papers on music therapy for trauma recovery. He'd worked at elite clinics in Paris and London, but 3 years ago, after losing his 6-year-old daughter in a car accident, paralyzed and then gone, he'd abandoned traditional practice for unconventional methods, traveling incognito to help children in need. But the real shock, records of consultations with Emily Harrington during her pregnancy, noting a genetic risk for neurological issues in the child. Emails between them, Emily pleading, "If anything happens to Lily, promise you'll find a way to help," without Alexander knowing. He won't understand. Alexander slammed his laptop shut, shame washing over him like a tidal wave. He'd judged Marcus by his skin color and humble role, never bothering to see the man beneath. Fired him in front of Lily, shattering her fragile progress. Worse, Marcus had risked his anonymity to honor Emily's wish. A notification pinged, a text from an unknown number. "Lily asked me to send this." Attached was a short video. Lily in a wheelchair, arms waving to music, a faint twitch in her legs, real movement. Marcus guided gently from the side. Caption, "She shone like a star last week. Before fear eclipsed it." Alexander replayed it obsessively, tears blurring the screen. He'd lost more than an employee. He'd betrayed Emily's trust and dimmed his daughter's light. But as doubt turned to revelation, a spark of humility ignited. It wasn't too late to make amends. Across town, Marcus whispered to his daughter's framed photo on his desk, "One more child to guide my angel." For Emily's sake, if this unfolding mystery of buried secrets and redemption has you on the edge of your seat, like the video or drop a comment below. What hidden truths have changed your life? Alexander raced to Marcus's modest apartment, the investigator's report clutched in his shaking hand like a lifeline. Bursting through the door after a hesitant knock, he found Marcus calmly reading a neurology textbook, as if expecting this confrontation. "You planned all of this," Alexander accused, voice raw with emotion. "From the very beginning, lying about who you are." Marcus set the book aside and gestured to a chair. "Sit, Mr. Harrington. Let's talk as two grieving fathers who love deeply." "No. You manipulated my family, used Emily's memory to infiltrate my home." Alexander's words tumbled out, but Marcus interrupted firmly, his tone steady. to fulfill her dying wish. Emily knew your need for control, your skepticism of anything unconventional. She begged me to help Lily if the accident's risks manifested, even if it meant hiding my identity as Dr. Hale. Marcus handed over a yellowed letter, Emily's elegant handwriting filling the page. Alexander read aloud, voice breaking, "Alexander, if Marcus delivers this, trust him completely. He lost his daughter to paralysis too, but his methods heal where others fail. Let go of fixing. Embrace true care." The phone rang. The nanny voice panicked. "Mr. Harrington, Lily's locked herself in the playroom, trying to dance alone. She won't stop till Marcus returns. She's hurting herself." Alexander's arrogance shattered. "Please, come back, not as an employee, but as the doctor Emily chose. I was blind, judging you by appearance, not worth." Marcus stood, eyes softening. "Not blind, afraid, but redemption starts with humility. Apologize to Lily first." Racing home, Alexander confessed in the car, "I saw your color and role before your competence. My prejudice nearly cost my daughter's happiness." Arriving, they found Lily straining in her wheelchair, tears streaming as she tried to mimic their dances. "Marcus!" she cried, hope flickering. He knelt gently. "Little star, you don't need to prove anything." "I'm here," Alexander joined, voice trembling. "I'm sorry, Lily, for everything. Marcus stays, and I'll learn to dance with you too." As father and daughter embraced, Marcus smiled faintly. 2 years later, the Harrington mansion housed Starlight Recovery Center, a partnership between Alexander and Dr. Hale, blending music therapy with advanced care. Lily walked with aids, her laughter echoing through halls now filled with other children. Alexander, having shed elitist ties, gained purpose. In interviews, "Prejudice was my prison. Empathy set us free." The center helped thousands. Marcus's methods published globally. Alexander proved true wealth blooms in open hearts, not closed minds. If this story of redemption showed how judgments blind us to miracles, subscribe for more tales proving greatness knows no color or class.